So, this is not Android. This is Ubuntu Touch running on my phone in 2026. I actually use this as my main phone, calls, messages, even Android apps. And I'll be honest, it didn't go the way I expected. Some things are really impressive, some things are frustrating. I'll show you what works, what breaks, and whether this can actually replace a normal phone. Let's start.
English is not my first language, so I use synthetic voice in my videos to make them easier to understand. Everything you will see in this video is based on my real experience.
Before we talk about Linux or nerd stuff, this has to pass one simple test. Can I use it like a normal phone? Calls work. No issues here. Audio is clear, mic is fine, and I didn't face random drops. The camera also works properly. It's not Android-level camera quality, but it's completely usable for photos and quick videos. And even YouTube runs fine using the Linux web app. Now here's the part that changes everything. This is Ubuntu Touch, but this is Android running inside it using Waydroid. This means you're not locked out of apps anymore. You can run WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, or whatever you need. Performance is surprisingly good, and most apps behave like they're running on a normal Android phone. This alone makes Ubuntu Touch way more usable than people think. Just keep in mind, not every Android app works perfectly here. Apps that depend on Google services can break, and when Waydroid is running, it can also use more battery. Now this is where Ubuntu Touch is on another level. This phone is not just running apps, it's running a real Linux system. The terminal is fully unlocked. I can run Docker, set up a NAS, and basically use this like a Linux PC. I also installed GIMP using Libertine, and it actually works. These are not mobile apps. These are real desktop Linux apps running on a phone. This is something Android and iOS simply cannot do. Now let's talk about real-world use. Battery life is basically the same as it was on Android. No overheating, no random lag. Overall, the system feels stable. It doesn't feel like some broken custom ROM. But now I have to talk about the biggest problem, navigation. I've been using Android and iOS for years, and Ubuntu Touch just feels wrong. The gestures, the UI flow, the way you move between apps. It constantly fights your muscle memory. Even though everything works, it never feels natural. I was slower doing simple things compared to Android. And for a phone, that matters more than having Linux power. There's also another big limitation. With Libertine, you can create Linux containers and run real desktop Linux apps on the phone. I tried installing things like VS Code and Firefox. Some of them installed, some of them refused, but none of them actually worked properly. So even though this is Linux, it's not the same as having a normal Ubuntu desktop. You still have to rely on Libertine apps and web apps most of the time. If you're wondering how this is installed, Ubuntu Touch is flashed using a tool called UBports. You run the UBports installer on a Windows, Mac, or Linux PC, connect your phone with a USB cable, and follow the on-screen steps. But there are two big catches. First, you must unlock your phone's bootloader, which wipes all your data and can affect warranty. Second, only a limited number of phones are supported, and even on supported devices, some features may be missing or unstable. I already made a full step-by-step install video using UBports, so if you want to try this yourself, watch that one. Link is in the description. So is Ubuntu Touch in 2026 a real daily driver? Technically, yes. It can make calls, run Android apps, run Linux desktop apps, and it's stable. But in terms of usability, it still feels like a Linux computer trying to be a phone, not a phone that just happens to run Linux. If you love Linux, you will enjoy this. If you just want a smooth phone experience, Android and iOS are still far ahead. One last thing before I end this. If your goal is to really enjoy Linux on a phone, not just use it as a phone, then honestly, Postmarket OS felt better to me than Ubuntu Touch. I tried Postmarket OS earlier, and the Linux experience there was more consistent. If you're curious about that side of things, you can watch that video after this one. So yeah, that's Ubuntu Touch, the good and the bad. If this video helped you understand what it's really like, make sure to subscribe. I do a lot of real-world testing like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.